Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Man United Agenda. This is the player ratings. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Man United Agenda. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We are on the road to 1K subscribers, and if you do go and subscribe to Man United Agenda, you're at a chance of winning a free Bruno Fernandes shirt. With me today, I've got Talk. How are you today, Talk?
Yeah, big up, Maisey. Thank you again. You do these shows, player ratings, man. Always helping me out on the watch alongs as well. It's very much appreciated. You're always there. Always. Yeah, no, I'm good. I've had 2 chocolate eclairs and a nice tea, so I'm happy if I've had chocolate. But this is going to be a interesting little show.
It's going to be, let's just say, it's going to be very brutal, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Yes.
Let's.
Yeah. Before we do these player ratings, we've got a couple of comments here. Fox's Focus, big shout out, MAISEY and Talk. I'm saying Ollie gets a 10 out of 10, not for the match itself, but obviously all the abuse he's taken and the way he's handled himself shows just a class person he is.
Great comment.
Big up to you, Brad. I've got a Monday here as well. Hi, Brad, MAISEY, Talk and Co. This should be interesting. Keep it real. Big up on Monday.
Keep it real.
We've got Noah here. Hello, MAISEY and Talk. Hello there, Noah. And we've got Vincent. Hello there, Vincent. I hope you're well. So let's get this started then with the player ratings. And the first player we'll start with is David De Gea. He played the full 90 minutes. Shots against him was 7. He saved 2 penalties and his save percentage was 57%. You've just got to be fairly honest, without De Gea, and you do question how many goals Watford would have scored. Easily they would have scored 5, 6.
Yeah.
He was there when we needed him, to be honest.
Yeah, he was, and it's like you just said there, without him, being as good as he is, it could have been a lot worse. And you know what? Yeah, they scored the 4 goals, but I mean, yeah, there was obviously circumstances for that made that happen. He can't stop everything. You just that's why you've got a defence in front of you. But I mean, for me, I'll give him a 7. I think.
For me, I'm going to give him a 5, and the reason why I'm giving him a 5, even though he did make a couple of good saves, he still conceded 4 goals, and it just felt like he was, in a way, he was a little bit quiet with the defence. Like, he wasn't, like, shouting at the defence, like, you need to do this. He was quite timid to me, and that's something what is a bit of a downfall for David De Gea. Despite how well he's done this season, he's just very quiet in his box, and he needs to command the back 4 a lot more, try and put him in the place.
No, I know what you're saying. I mean, but like I say, the issues we've got in our defence at the moment are absolutely dreadful. It's like schoolboy stuff, you know what I mean? It's like you're trying to coach schoolboys, in simple tasks. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, sometimes he can be a little bit more vocal, but at the end of the day, how long has he been at that club now, and how long has he been working with these defenders? There comes a time when you be your teammates that you pick up certain aspects of the game that they ain't that strong at. So you have to take that on your own chin. So for me, if that's the case, but you know that he's going to be the number 1, then you've got to, as the leader of the back 4, i.e. Harry Maguire, you've got to be the one to start, being a bit more of a leader and a bit more of a gobshite. It's as simple as that.
You said that as real as we possibly could say that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll go to our next player, Wan-Bissaka. Played the full 90 minutes. He had a passing success of 71%. He won 3 tackles and he won 4 aerials. Still, for me, he didn't do enough for me, Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Wan-Bissaka is brilliant on his one-on-ones, but he wasn't that good for me going forward, for one, and there was a couple of mistakes from Wan-Bissaka. Seen him give away a ball a couple of times, and them balls are crucial. We're losing possession, and we don't want to lose possession at a team like Watford, who are not very good defensively, but they're more a defensive team than they are an attacking team, and they took their chances when they did.
Yeah, can't argue with that. I mean, he needs somebody, whoever does come in, coaching wise, and if they bring their own staff, especially, which for me has to happen, then they need some work needs to be done on his forward play. But I think also not just that, he's been, to his credit, he's been working with Mason Greenwood, who is a striker. He's not a right winger, and Mason Greenwood's natural sort of game is always to want to. It's like the goal is like a magnet to him. Whereas if he gets more time, I believe, with Jadon Sancho, then I think Wan-Bissaka could improve. But again, he is going to need that little bit of help as well, also from a good manager and a good coaching setup. But yeah, I mean, in terms of a score, I think a 4.
I was going to go with a 3, so we're pretty much near enough to say him, aren't we? So
yeah, thereabouts.
Now, this one is going to be extremely interesting. The next player I'm going to pick, which is Harry Maguire.
It's amazing. Let me just say something. Listen, I cannot for the life of me understand, like what has happened to Harry Maguire. He was in that England World Cup. The World Cup. He was sensational. He was great for Leicester. Absolutely brilliant. He's had some great games for Man United, but on him, I would say the percentages would go against him in terms of being great. Right, when you consider the people we've had at the back before at the club, and for me that doesn't add up. There's something not quite right there. You can't, you're not like a great player just for a little while and then you just turn into a shit player. No, there's something going on, and obviously we can look at incidents that have happened. The Greece incident, people saying he needs to be taken out of the team for a bit of rest. He's burnt out, all kinds of reasons and excuses. But it's going to be interesting to see, from my point of view, what happens again. I mean, it applies to all the team, I suppose. When we get this new setup in place, is it going to make a real big difference in his performances? And but it's so sad to see, because I know in Harry Maguire there is a really great player, great player. I know there is. But what he did in that game was just absolutely ridiculous. You can't listen. You talk about, it's about concentration. I don't think what he did with that ball, in order for him to have to make that tackle that he made, he wasn't concentrating. Because if you're concentrating and you're used to carrying the ball, we see him carry the ball all the time. When you try and carry the ball like that and you're not concentrating, it's so easy to over hit it, which is exactly what he did. He put too much into that move where he's sort of like, you sweep the ball forward in front of you because you see the guy coming towards you. You think, sorry, I'm just going to play the ball past you and get into this space. And whilst I'm going to the ball, I'm going to have time to see where I'm going to play it off. But what he did is he overhit it because he wasn't concentrating hard enough on what he was doing in that moment. He was concentrating too much on what I'm going to do. He's not Paul Scholes, right? Paul Scholes is the only player who could do that, right? Four moves ahead. Paul Scholes was ahead of everybody. Harry Maguire is not Paul Scholes on the ball. So concentration levels need to improve, and that's why he ended up making that ridiculous tackle, which got him inevitably sent off. So I'm afraid for him, I've got to give him I'm not even going to score him. I'm not. Just not going to do it.
For everyone who's watching, I'll say the stats for Harry Maguire. He's played 69 minutes, a pass success of 91%. He won 0 aerials, and he got 1 red card. For me, Harry Maguire, even if he wasn't playing, he was still absolutely terrible what he'd done by throwing the captain's armband. You don't do that as a captain. It's disrespectful to the club. It's disrespectful to the players around you. It's disrespectful to the manager. And I don't agree with that kind of behaviour whatsoever. His 2 tackles what he made to get both them yellows was absolutely terrible. And when you're on a yellow card, you need to be extra, extra careful what you're doing. And he wasn't careful. If, for example, he's got them goals for England, and you say, fair enough, you got them goals. If you do this at club football, we'll be happy with that. But he's not. He's come back, and it's like he came back a worse player.
Well, that's the point I'm making. Look,
Yes.
he goes away with England, and he has a decent game, and he starts pointing at his head and doing all that celebration stuff. But then as soon as he comes back to Old Trafford, and you know what, we have to be realistic with ourselves and ask the question: is it too much for him? Because as we know, right, and I'm not the only one who say it to say it, when you're at Old Trafford, right, Manchester United, there's a certain atmosphere there that you can feel this kind of this presence of something. You don't know what it is. Can't put your finger on it. But there is a presence there at the club. It's big. It's massive. Some players just can't cope with it. And I'm starting to ask myself, is Harry Maguire in that category? Can he just not handle what's expected at Old Trafford? And if that's the case, then we're going to find that out. Like I said before, when a new manager comes and blah, blah, we'll find all that out. And then if he's not up to scratch then, mate, you know what? He's going to be gone.
Yeah. You can say maybe he can't. Some players are better without that little bit of responsibility on him. Can he be better without the captain's armband? Because you look at Valencia, for instance, when he had the number 7, he wasn't putting his best performance on. But when the number 7 was taken away from him, he was playing better. So it makes you wonder: is it the responsibility what he's got as the captain? But in terms of the score itself, I'm giving Harry Maguire a 0. I'm not giving him
nice one.
any score whatsoever.
Yeah.
And if that's just me being generous, I would give him a -3 if I had to, but he gets a 0 from me. But we'll go next to our last defender who was on the pitch, which is Luke Shaw. He played an overall of 84 minutes. He did have another concussion sub, didn't he? So we do need to look on what is going on with Luke Shaw. He's had a passing success of 82%, 1 aerial 1, and 1 tackle 1. Luke Shaw, he had an awful game again. I've not been happy with Luke Shaw's performance at all this season. I feel like after the Euros, maybe it is the lack of confidence. Maybe it is because he's getting overworked, but he hasn't been the same player what we have seen of Luke Shaw of last season. I felt like yesterday he was poor defensively. I barely seen him going forward as well. And he's normally better at going forward this season than he has been defensively. So I am questioning Luke Shaw's position at this moment in time, and would Tellez be the better fit at this moment in time until Luke Shaw can build himself up into the player who we saw last season? Because you do need to have competition in every single role, every single position you do have on the pitch. And for me, I'm going to give Luke Shaw a 2.
Yeah, I think he needs to be dropped. There's no two ways about it. Like Maguire, I think he needs some time off. I think he needs some time away on some one-on-one training. A bit of kind of the pair of them, a bit of R&R. Refresh their minds and everything else. That bit of time they had off the other day was just not enough. So yeah, I have to agree with you. It's unusual because we know there's a great player there, but again, we have to there's so many factors to take into consideration, in all of this, what's been going on at Old Trafford. You've got, it's almost as if nobody wants to admit what the problem was. It's all like, everybody's like, you look at Harry Maguire's press conference, what he was saying in that. It's like, wait a minute, you keep saying this, you keep coming out and saying the same old thing about, we know it wasn't good enough, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. All right, so the manager's gone now. Okay, so what's the excuse going to be tomorrow night if we don't get a decent performance and a result? Or it's Michael Carrick. What is it going to be? What's the excuse going to be? Maybe, just maybe, we're finding out now that this could actually be the case, Maisey. Let's not kid ourselves. We could now actually be finding out that actually all these players who we think are really good for Man United aren't even that good. And I'll tell you what's going to make that clearer than daylight is when whoever it is comes in to take over, and let's see how they get on with this bunch of players. Because I believe there's a lot of these players who are just not good enough. Simple as that. Luke Shaw gets a 2.
Yes. I'm going through a couple of the comments here, and I just wanted to say hello to everyone who's recently tuned in. My queen, my dad, Niall, Bath Time, Rush. I can see there's a couple of more a bit further up as well who did tune in. So I just want, and Sonny as well. So I just want to say big up to everyone who has tuned in. I will get to everybody's comments in the end because I can see that some people have made some good points. So here about Niall, go on Maisey. I don't agree with that behaviour, meaning Harry Maguire. That why he's my disgrace of the week. Never ever to be captain. You've got here from Bath Time. Yeah, that's out of order. I don't care about him going on a night out for his dad's birthday. I care about the club and what the shirt means to all of us, and he didn't. Amonde said a comment here, and this is a bit of a funny comment, so I just wanted to put on the screen.
Yeah, well, what rhymes with, I mean, I think Amonde used to do some rapping, I think. I'd love to hear him do some rapping on that one. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Please, will you do a clip for us, Amonde, of doing this rapping? And Bath Time said, I'm prepared to give Shaw a pass because Ollie sent him out with basically a brain injury, but 2 out of 10. Yes, so a lot of people are also not very happy with the scores.
I mean, do you know what? Let's just for a moment discuss that point because it's important. Listen, I know what you're saying there, Vaughan. However, this could be a case of Luke Shaw being, you know, you put yourself in Luke Shaw's boots. You know, Alex Tellers is there, right? The staff look at him. He's had a really bad injury in the past, right? If he could be himself worried. He could be worried himself about when he goes out because he knows he's already had this one concussion. If he's not playing, if he's playing within himself because of fear, but he doesn't want to say anything because he thinks, well, I'll lose my place to Alex Tellers. This is what you've got to take into consideration because as much as these guys are friends, they are always battling to want to take the other player's position on the pitch. They want to be in the team. So, you know, I know from my experience that's, you know, even if you've got a little niggle, you're like, no, it's sweet. But even then, you're worried, thinking, wait a minute, crap, what if this goes south now and I just pull up? If it goes on me, you know, and I pull up, you know, and then you get a load of grief off the manager and that, and you're like, well, yeah, you know, what's this? And then when they have a look at it and it's, you know, listen, I think there could be a little bit of that going on here with Luke Shaw. That he's in his mind and he's a little bit worried, and that's, you know, because there is something going on in that kind of sense with him for me in a psychological way, because that's the only reason it can be. Because again, like Harry Maguire, there are there's abilities there, isn't it? We've seen it.
Yes, 100%. I actually almost forgot about Lindelof.
I was going to say, when you said last defender, I was thinking, wait a minute, did he play through at the back?
Sorry, Lindelof.
Yeah, sorry.
I hope you don't see this, Lindelof. I'm really sorry.
Cut that one short off, you want, Maisey. It's just a flat 0.
Yeah, Lindelof played the 90 minutes, 3 clearances, a pass success of 83%, and he won 4 aerials. So he done a lot better in his aerials compared to Maguire. But I actually think he's a lot better in the air recently than Maguire. I'm gonna rate Lindelof for a 3. I think he was definitely better than Harry Maguire, but he was nowhere near to Man United standards neither.
No, he's not. Listen, he's never has been that great. You know, Lindelof. Let's have it right. And yeah, all right, he won 4 aerial duels, but I mean, you know, and the pass success. I mean, yeah, it is a stat. We know that, but it's still, you know, if you go back and look at each of the passes what he's made, a majority of them will be to Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
You know, or David De Gea.
Or he does his long passes, like his long
that's
crosses.
one thing he is good at. Actually, I'll give him credit for that. The long passes are there, but I mean, without a number 6 in front of him, it's kind of. It's really a bit of a gamble. There's no way you can kind of sort of use that in any kind of way to, you know, have a plan to use that if you're getting, say, outnumbered in the midfield, you know, and you're like, okay, well, listen, I'm going to just make runs in the midfield, drag them all over the shop. Lindelof, the number 6 drops the ball back to Lindelof. The number 6 makes a run forward. Everybody else makes a run forward, but Lindelof then just goes boom, long ball, cuts out that whole midfield to one of the forward players, and then you're in behind, bang. So, but yeah, like I say, we haven't got the number 6 in at the moment to do that. So, but Lindelof is, in my opinion, he's never been good enough. So I'm going to go with a 1. So.
Okay. We'll go next to the next player, which is Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay played 46 minutes. Me and Talk already know this isn't going to be pretty. Passing success of 82%, 1 successful dribble, and 1 yellow card. You know what? I genuinely just don't feel like Scott McTominay is good enough for the club. No. He's not even good enough for a squad player either. Yeah, he's got a passing success of 82%, but where's he passing? Backwards or sideways? It's not as though he's passing forward, because when he passes forward, he loses that possession. He's jogging. He's not running for the ball. He's like a mannequin at times. And I just simply think that he's not there for me at all. He's not good in the double pivot. When we played him in that back 5, he wasn't good enough then. And for me, I'm giving Scott McTominay a 1. But he was awful in that midfield.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, you know what my thoughts are about him. Listen, he's nothing personal. He's a nice enough kid and all the rest of it, but he's not good enough for Man United. Talking about midfield, the heart of the pitch here. This is the heart of the pitch where you dominate games. You set the tempo. You know, you start the basis of attacks from. So, and he's not good enough. There's nothing for me. I mean, being able to sort of run about a bit and, you know, do stupid tackles like he did to give away that penalty. You know, I mean, what was all that about? You know, he should have been sticking with his man in that situation. He should have been reading it and then going, well, wait a minute, where are you going? You should have been with his man, and he should have been right alongside his man and challenging for that when that ball come down. Not just going, oh, crap, I'm going to have to just fall over and make it look like it's an accident and then bring him down. It's an absolute joke. You're talking about the midfield of Manchester United here. For me, listen, I've had this conversation. I think it might have been with you about is it possible that he can improve? I think was it you
yes, said we definitely did, and I said no. He's got just as it says here in the comments from Rush. He's around 24. This is supposed to be his prime.
Exactly.
And he's terrible. He's not going to improve from this point. He's only going to get worse as the time goes on now.
Well, that's it. I mean, my hope was, you know, when I kind of look at this after the game, and you think about performances and you watch the highlights again, and you sort of, because I'll watch the highlights, pause it, just absorb, go back, and then watch the whole process again, and then just think, wait a minute, you know, why have you gone wrong here? What is it you're not being? What is it in your game that's lacking here for it to end up in this situation that we find ourselves in at the end of the clip? So, but for him, I mean, I don't know, maybe there is an opportunity for somebody, you know, to come in and maybe get a little bit more out of him, but is that enough? I don't think it is, if I'm honest with you. I think he needs to go on to another club, to be fair. I think he's, you know, kind of like Darren Gibson mould, or who else would we have in that midfield who could put him alongside? I don't know. I'll just take Darren Gibson at the moment. But, for me, it's a 1. Simple.
Yeah. We'll go with the next player who was in that double pivot, Matic, and I know Omondi is loving Matic as well. I just thought I'd give you a shout out for you there, Omondi. And he's also my uncle Matic, so yes, my uncle. He's played a total of 90 minutes. He done 7 accurate long balls, pass success of 83%, and he won 4 aerials. Due to the Harry Maguire red card situation, Matic actually had to move into the centre-back position. And I think, especially if we get an injury or 2 more whilst Maguire is out, and also maybe we might be seeing Matic in a centre-back position a bit more. But I think overall with Matic, there was a couple of bits where he did have that spark on him, and I felt like he did play that a little bit better in the second half when he was alongside Doni, which we will touch on about Doni a little bit later on, but I felt like that's when we started to see a little bit more Matic, and you could see that a little bit more defensively, because I felt like the team was literally a bit more electric once then subs were made at half-time. For me, I'm going to give Matic a 4. What are you going for with Matic?
Yeah, listen, we know Matic is class. You know, you know the words to use for Matic. He is a class player, absolutely great player. reads the game brilliantly, does great things with the ball, great positioning. And when you're playing in a team like we're playing at the moment, it's difficult for him, because obviously he's going to have to use more energy, and he hasn't got them energy levels. If you had a team that was playing a more stable brand of football, i.e. using players in the positions they're supposed to be and keeping them there as long as you can, keeping a good shape, I think it'd be easier for, and I agree with Omondi when he says, when people say, oh, Matic can't play 2 games in a week, I don't agree with that. I believe, of course he can, if you play him correctly. You've got to use Matic to use all his strengths. And as we know, at his age now, carrying the ball forward is all good and well, but you have to pick the right moments to do that. And when he dropped back, we went to a 4-4-1. That was the only sensible shape you could make out of what we ended up in, really. And so, you know what? I think Matic, I'm going to actually give him a 5, if I'm honest. I'll give him a 5.
Yeah, the exact same as
Monday says 5. Yeah, there you go then. Matic is a ball. Yeah, exactly.
I just want to get back as well here to Mr. B's comment. It was this one about Lindelof. The question is, the answer is.
Oh, can I just hold on a minute? Let's just hold the phone a second, folks. Everybody in the chat, listen. Let me just tell you. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but on one of the player ratings shows, one of the early shows, Maisie made a comment, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was so hilarious. And I think, what did it? Just repeat it, Maisie, just to make everybody giggle. What did you say? Go on.
I think everyone would have to go back to watch it.
No, go on, say it. Please say it. It's so funny. If you don't, I'll say it. I'll tell you what she said then, folks, right? So we're doing it, and it came to Lindelof. And I think it might have been me or somebody else was still talking. And I could see Maisie was waiting to get in. So Maisie just comes in with what she was going to say. And she says, oh, yeah, I love Lindelof's balls. And that was it. Everybody just like, what? It's a quality moment. It's absolute class. Yeah, and we're like, what? And then, I think she meant to say she loved Lindelof's long balls. Not, it's a little bit of Man United agenda gold for you there. Go and try and find it on one of the player ratings shows. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you definitely need to watch it. It was Mr. B who was on there.
Yeah, that's
Talk
right.
And Damer. So you have to give it a watch. And people are laughing here in the chat, everyone. And I just want to say a big shout out to Solo. Thank you for tuning in. We'll go now to our next player anyway, which is Jadon Sancho. I actually think, despite the result, this game for Sancho, it was the best performance what I have seen of him so far in a Man United shirt. He was actually taking on the defenders sometimes. He wasn't as reliant on the full-backs and also the midfield. He was getting that little bit more confident in the game, which I was really liking about Sancho. And I think, even though he didn't get that goal, he didn't get an assist, I still feel like his overall style of play was brilliant. So I've got nothing but praise really for Sancho, and for me, I'm gonna give Sancho a 5. For everyone who is in the chat, Sancho played 90 minutes. He had a passing success of 79%, 3 successful dribbles, and 2 key passes. And for Talk, what are you going with for Sancho?
I'm actually going to be a lot kinder than 5. I'm going to go 8, and I'll tell you why. Just because he was so brave. He was so brave on the ball. He was showing some great skills. He was showing some great positional play. He was showing some great heart and spirit. He seems to have come out of his shell a little bit now. I think the more time he gets on that right-hand side, the more we are going to see the Jadon Sancho that we all want to see. The guy that we knew we was bringing in. We didn't see him when he was getting played on the left, which was, we was all baffled, weren't we, when he was getting played on the left? Because it's like, wait a minute, you've been screaming out for a right winger for, God knows how long. And then, but you keep insisting on trying to play Mason Greenwood, who's an absolute out-and-out striker. So I think Jadon Sancho really impressed me in that game. So, he's going to get an 8 for me.
Yeah, people were pretty happy with Sancho in the comments as well with his crossing, and I think his crossing was absolutely brilliant too. And just as Baftine said, he was the only player that came off the pitch destroyed from effort. Yeah, and I do agree with that because I think he was definitely minus Doni, he was probably my second best player on the pitch in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, he put a lot of heart in and you know, and a lot of energy, and yeah,
Mhm.
hopefully, you know, we're going to see a lot more of this kid, and he's going to be fantastic for the club going forward.
Yes. We'll go next now with Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes played 90 minutes, passing success of 77. He had 2 total shots and 7 accurate long balls, just like Matic. I just don't feel like this game it was for Bruno. He was very quiet in this game for me, and I do love Bruno Fernandes, but he just didn't make that impact what we can see of Bruno Fernandes, and I'm gonna give him a 3. What are you going for with Bruno?
Yeah, I mean, I said before the game, you know what they might try and do it is double up on us on the wings, and then it ended up they were doing some of that, but then it ended up that we were getting outnumbered in the midfield. And when that happens, and you got a player like Bruno, you know, because he's always so forward thinking, always looking for, you know, the creation. It can be hard for a player like that when they've got to work, work. You know what I mean? It can ruin his game, and I think that's what happens with Bruno when that happens in the midfield. And this is what I'm getting at with the likes of McTominay. You know, that shouldn't be happening in our midfield. We should be creating enough time and space by controlling the tempo to give players like Bruno Fernandes the license to be the creator. You know, to have not have to like be thinking about getting into spaces that he doesn't really want to be in. You know, it's like he doesn't want to be like in really too deep spaces, searching for balls, you know, to try and then get out, because you're losing the whole sort of magician act, so to speak, from Bruno. He needs to be up, you know, in that kind of that space where the strikers are sort of loitering, and is within sort of 10, 15 yards of the striker, so that he's got the ball. He's already read what the situation is around him. He knows where Cristiano Ronaldo's potentially going to prefer the ball to be, and it's bam, and he gets it, and he does, you know, he lays it off in whatever kind of fashion. But when he's got to keep running around and searching and finding himself in odd positions, that's not what Bruno Fernandes is about. It's, you know, so I think I do feel a little bit for Bruno, but in terms of a score, I don't know. I don't want to be too harsh because I do like Bruno, Magnifico. I'll say a 5.
We're going now to Marcus Rashford. He played a total of 46 minutes, passing success of 50%, 2 successful dribbles and 1 shot. I wasn't happy at all with Marcus Rashford's game. I felt like it was absolutely awful, just like Scott McTominay's. His game was awful. He could be as far as from here to here. He could be at touching distance with the opposition playing. He was giving away the ball so cheaply. The amount of times he gave the ball so cheaply, and that was costing us a lot because they started counter-attacking on us, and there was doing that attacking play when Rashford was giving away the ball. I was really, really disappointed, and I know he's had them fair few injuries, but you do know you need to know how to pass a ball, and you can't blame that just on injuries. And I'm giving Marcus Rashford a 1 because I was absolutely appalled with his style of play on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, do you know, I think there's a little bit of a confidence issue with Marcus Rashford at the moment. I think that's the only thing I can actually think of. But like you say, the injury thing has been, you know, that's gone, and he seems to have got match fit. I mean, he might not be 100% on the match fitness, you know, and also, yeah, it was 46 minutes, so yeah, I don't want to be too hard on Marcus because, again, he's, you know, I like most of the players, if I'm honest, but in terms of a rating, I'll go for a 3.
We'll go now with our last starting 11 player, which is Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo played a total of 90 minutes, a passing success of 91%. He got 1 assist, and 4 total shots. That assist was pretty nice. What he did do for Doni. With Ronaldo as well, he's tracking back so far back. Like, he's literally where Wan-Bissaka is, because he's trying to help out everyone. And you know what Ronaldo's like. He likes to get stuck in wherever he goes. And that is the problem sometimes, though, when you're tracking back so fast, you haven't got enough players when we are in that attacking position to go forward. And apart from that and the pressing, that is the only thing I could really critique Cristiano Ronaldo on, because he is an amazing player, one of the best in the world. People argue he is the best in the world, but we need to feed Ronaldo a lot more than what we are doing, and it's very dry for Cristiano Ronaldo at the moment because we're not giving him enough crosses, we're not giving him enough opportunities, in my opinion. For me, though, I'm going to give Cristiano a 4. What are you going to give for Ronaldo?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And yeah, listen, you know what? With the age that he's at, you know, we should be not giving him any reason to drop back so deep, you know, by keeping a good shape. Even when we have to collapse into a defensive shape, he should not be anywhere other than on the shoulders or just in front of their defence. That's where he should be. That's the only places he should be, really. Because like I was saying before about him, you know, having to drop deep to try and find the ball and then to try and play the ball off and then have the legs to try and run up to get ahead or get in behind. How many times is he going to be able to do that? He's not even going to be able to do it a few times because his legs, you know, you get to a certain age, your legs, man, they just start to become so heavy. You know, they're just, it's like wearing like, you know, sandbags around your ankles. You know, after like 5 or 10 minutes of a game, when you get to a certain age, you're just like, oh God. So again, it's not really Cristiano's fault. He wants, like you said, he wants to do everything. He wants to help out, but he wants to score. But if you look at them stats, you know, passing success 91% out of 90 minutes.
Brilliant.
1 assist, that's excellent. And he's had 4 shots at goal. Now, yeah, you talk about the shots, but then you, like you said, that where them shots come from all depends on how he's getting fed the ball. You know, if you're talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best players in the world, still, and it's scrappy shots, but then you got to look at how he's being supplied the ball and what's going on, you know, around him. You know, lack of energy from his teammates in order to create space for him, so that he can manipulate the space and then clever little passes in and bang. You know, because you know as well as I do, Maisey, if Cristiano Ronaldo's got a good sight at goal, you know, and has 10 shots, you know that 9 of them are going in. Simple as that. So when it comes to scrappy, you know, chances and poor passes that are into him that he's got to then try and deal with again when he's not, you know, this isn't like the 25-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo we're talking about. You know, he's 37, is it 36?
Yeah, 36.
I do feel for him, but I do believe that the rest of this season now and then going and next season, I think we are going to see the absolute, like, the cream again from Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes. So, but for this game, just simply because of them stats and what I watch, eye test, etc., I'm going to give him a 7.
We'll go now to everybody who everyone was all waiting for, which is Doni. Doni played a total of 45 minutes. He scored 1 goal, passing success of 79%, and 1 accurate through ball. I actually felt like this game, Doni did show what he was capable of. Everyone's saying Doni can't play a double pivot because he hasn't done that at Ajax, but he's shown that he can do this double pivot alongside Matic. He was electric. However, he was very lucky he didn't get a yellow card because he did make a pretty poor challenge.
Yeah.
But for me, though, I am going to give Doni a 7 because he was definitely my man of the match. What are you going to go for with Doni?
Well, yeah, I mean, on that point, what you've just mentioned there about the card,
yeah,
you know, nearly getting a card. You got to think about his position at the club. You know, how long he's been sat on the bench. He gets this chance. Every time he gets his opportunity, he's not going to be able to help himself sometimes getting too kind of, you know, a bit too far forward in his thinking. And he's obviously, in doing so, you're going to make a couple of mistakes here and there. But I think overall, I thought Doni played really, really well. And there is, you know, we all know what Donny's going to bring to this game on Tuesday night, because for me, he's got to start. And I'm sure Michael Carrick will start him alongside Matic, no doubt. And so, again, Doni is an a key part of our future going forward, especially for the rest of this season. And, you know, I know there's rumours about him wanting to go in January and everything, but that all may change when, you know, it becomes clear of who the actual, you know, if it is the interim manager who takes over from the caretaker manager, you know, or it's Laurent Blanc or whoever. But that's, I mean, again, you got to think about that though. That's not really going to help us, is it? Because we don't really know. We don't really know then if it's an interim manager. Is an interim manager going to be able to sort of persuade him and Lingard to sign on the dotted line and stay? You know, we need that. This is where we could find ourselves in a bit of a pickle because, as like somebody, I think it was Matt, stated, the January transfer window this season is going to be a lot busier simply because of the way the World Cup falls. So I don't want to see Donny van de Beek going to Newcastle or any other team and Jesse Lingard going off to wherever, because at the end of the day, you know, they will have a big part to play in us going forward over the next few seasons. Lingard, I know, is older than Donny, but Donny is he's a great player, absolute quality. So I want to see him start on Tuesday, but I'm going to give him an 8.
Brilliant. And I'll go with the final, one of the other substitutes, because I know we have 4 substitutes overall, but they did play about 3 minutes, so it'll be pretty pointless to do a player rating for them. But we go with the other substitute here, which is Anthony Martial. He played a total of 45 minutes, 1 successful dribble, passing success of 75%, and 1 accurate through ball. With me, I actually felt like Martial didn't do a bad game, if you want me to be fairly honest. When he come in, he was actually making that effort, and a lot of people do say he isn't up to Man United standards. But I think when he's on the wings, he's different compared to what he is as a striker, because he's not a striker. And you can tell when he plays on the left wing, he does look like he is getting that bit more potential out of him. And I'm actually going to give Martial a 5 because he did give a lot of energy, and I think he did impact the game and at the first bit of the second half up to the red card incident. And that's when I was seeing a little bit less of him. But I think up to that point, he did play brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, look, he has got a specific skill set that is valuable to the team. But I find that Martial a bit of a mood player. You know, I think he's a bit of a mood player, and I think he always wants to be the number 1 for that left side or for the striking option. But as it stands at the moment, we know he's got no hope for either place as a starting, unless there are injuries that are going to make it so. But I just don't know if overall, if he's in this, would be in my plans going forward for the club. I'm not convinced, if I'm honest with you. I'm just not.
Yeah, but, I agree with that point.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying about what he played and how he played, you know, in the minutes that he had. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still not 100% convinced with the chap. So, but for his efforts in the game, I'll give him a 5.
Brilliant. And I just want to say as well, there is a couple of new people who did tune in onto this channel today, and that was Eagle-Eyed Football. I just want to say big up to you for tuning in. I've seen Sargon tuned in as well, and Gareth. So I just wanted to say big up to all of you for tuning in. Yeah. We have a question here from Brad. Is Martial the most frustrating player currently at Manchester United, considering how long he's been with you and they're potentially shown in flashes? What would you say to that?
Exactly. I just rewind and listen to what I just said, and that sums it all up. You know, he's a mood player. He's just a mood player, and at the end of the day, we do know that he has got specific skill set and he has his moments. But for me, again, you know, you play when you're playing for, I suppose, any team, you have to understand. You know, you've got to be a squad player, and if you're not happy with that, then you know you're gonna struggle. You have to be a squad player these days in these big teams, because that's just the way it is. You know, and you will get runs of games, obviously, but you know there has to be some rotation and resting and blah blah. But for me, it's just too moody, and it's not consistent enough. That's the problem.
Great. So we'll end it here for today. I just want to say a big thank you for everyone who has tuned into the channel, everyone in the comments who's gave your player ratings, and a big thank you to TalkMU, my right arm man, as I like to say, for coming on and helping me with these player ratings. It's very much appreciated. everyone who is currently watching, please hit the like and subscribe button. We are on the road to 1K subscribers. And if you do go and subscribe to Man United Agenda, you are at a chance of winning that free Bruno Fernandes shirt, which is absolutely amazing giveaway to have. There is going to be another show, which is at 8 o'clock. And that is a show you do not want to miss. Everyone go and stay on here. Wait till that 8 o'clock show. It is going to be absolutely brilliant.
Who's on that show? I think it's Solo, Jay Motti from the Stratford Paddock.
Yes.
Mr.
OMONDI as well.
OMONDI,
yeah.
Rebel and OS, I think. So go and check that show out, guys, because it's going to be it's going to be an interesting show because we've got a special guest on in Jay, and it's going to be interesting to see what he's got to say about certain aspects of what's just happened and what's about to happen going forward. So I can't wait for that.
Yes,
I also want to say thank you to everybody as well who always keeps returning. A shout out to Rush Mano. I know Rushy from Flying Pigs channel. All the regulars who attend regularly. Because without you guys, there is no show. So it's all about you guys, and you're so generous in the comments as well, which is very much appreciated.
Great. So everyone go and tune in for that 8 o'clock show. But until then, we'll see you all soon. Goodbye.
Ciao.